Hey fellow comrades, how you guys been doing? Welcome to the Battle Union round 5, and this time around we're not playing games. I cannot afford to lose. Right now we are 2 wins, 2 losses. I'm gonna be I'm gonna try to talk about those 2 losses I get a little bit later on, and how it was basically my fault, just generally looking at it, how I approach things, how I didn't prepare for things, and hopefully this time around we will prepare for stuff, because I cannot afford to lose. I cannot afford to lose. We gotta win all our matches now if we would have been having any chance to go into the playoffs, so I cannot afford. Basically, let's look at Yeti's team. I got sort of a drawback, sort of a disadvantage and advantage for this week, and I don't know for how long. Yeti, player Yeti of the Highlanders, Houndooms, I believe. Highlander Houndooms, I believe the team is called. But Yeti will be replaced by a player called Ethan. And there is a drawback to this, and there's some advantages. Now let me try to explain the advantage. First of all, this will be his first attempt using Yeti's team. While Yeti's team is potent to no degree, it's got to all degree, to be honest. He's got the speed. It's got things that can definitely work into his favor. So basically, it's not all that hard to learn the ways of this team. Looking at it, it definitely can cover stuff. While there's a couple of lack of things that I will definitely go into a little bit later on. But anyways, this disadvantage could be that, you know, he's not all that used to this team, and he may make mistakes because of that. He's not thinking as Yeti. There is where the disadvantage comes in. I cannot prepare myself completely for this guy, because really, when you look at it, I cannot go back, look at Yeti's bells, and I could think, oh, Yeti's, you know, his strategy, his thoughts, like how he prepares himself for other people. This is how we can get into a person's mind and think about it. But Ethan is not Yeti. Ethan has not used this team, so I got no prior knowledge listening to him using this team. And this can be horrible, because this feels like a round 1 all over again. And this means that basically round 1s are the hardest, because, well, round 1s, you just aren't too sure on what they're all about with their Pokemon sometimes. You know, you can semi-tell sometimes, like, how creative are they. Because Ethan using this team, I cannot seem to say how creative will he be. But again, you know, people can be all creative all they want, but at least some prior experience could have been great to see regarding this team, but I cannot. So that is something that concerns me a little bit, because looking back at my second round battle, when Sis Awesome was replaced, the opponent that I was facing, an excellent player, definitely felt, no disrespect to Sis Awesome. Sis Awesome is definitely awesome. A great guy, and he pulled through, man. The battle against Gabriel was amazing. I felt that he became a fucking threat. But honestly, the player that replaced him, competitive wise, yeah, that guy full out. That guy's full out. And he used Spike's Roserade, which I believe is awesome, what I've not used, because I don't feel that is his way. And spikes, those juicy spikes definitely did not work into my favor today. But you know, it was a different player. I had no idea how he will approach his team, and that is, well, basically that was my fault. I should have bring a default Scizor, to be honest with you guys. But basically, like, all his Pokemon had like far related moves, so that was as far as that go. For the first battle against Lorenzo, I feel horrible for that one, because Lorenzo 5-0 me. Lorenzo had a perfect score of 3-0, only losing to the Anima. And funny thing is that look, my first time was bringing Meloetta without, you know, instead of Keldeo. Basically, but Meloetta couldn't be used online, so I just decided, you know, let's just go with Keldeo. And I knew he's gonna have Mega Venusaur. So Mega Venusaur walled me, and that was my fault. I should have just bring Meloetta as it was intended, but yeah, at least the score would have not been as horrible as it was. Then again, I don't know how Meloetta could have worked out, but in Salt Fest, Meloetta could have worked incredibly well against his team. Still, let's look, especially like a commanding Meloetta, holy hell. Anyways, let's look at my opponent's team, Yeti's team, that will be used by Ethan. We're gonna go through Pokemons that I expect him to expect me to see him using, and generally, you know, the threats, the expected movesets that I'm really scared of, maybe potential creative moveset that I could see being used, but I don't know, you know, creativity can go a long way. Rotom Wash, no creativity with this one. This one plays way too good when it's standard. Does not matter if you know what he does most of the time. It still does have the diversity. It can go Trick, it can go defense, it can go special defense, it can go Will-O-Wisp, it can go Resto Chesto, it can go Pain Split. The thing is, I still feel Rotom generally is too good to be playing creative, like outside of reach. Like nobody's gonna use a freaking physical Rotom Plus. I don't believe that's even possible with the Rotom Wash. I mean, Hydro Pump is like its only water type move, I believe. That's the case. It doesn't get Water Gun, does it? That's kind of sad, but that wouldn't really be all that competitive. Plus, it's a special move, so what am I talking about? Anyways, Rotom Wash, I'm expecting a defensive one. And looking at my team, defensive one could have been an excellent stop to the likes of Arcanine, Dragonite even. Gastrodon, I don't feel he's gonna expect me to use Gastrodon, just because he's got two grass-type Pokemons. Dragalge, not really. Rotom is easy setup for Dragalge, honestly. There's really not much Rotom can do against Dragalge, especially if its specs Draco Meteor will decimate Rotom. I believe even a max special defense gets one-shotted, which is power on a tier of its own. Meloetta, not really. Crocodile, yes, to a certain extent, if it's not choice, locked into a Volt Switch or something. Piloswine has been put into the bench, replaced by Spiritomb, which I will not use in this battle. I could for Terrakion, but then again, Stone Edge is way too strong, especially if it's not choiced. He can just swap around moves, and the damage is way too great. Electros, yeah, Rotom can definitely hit hard, and Electros, you know, still, again, like I said, Electros can go for the Super Fang. I can wear him down. I can Toxic him a little bit, but we're gonna see which set we'll go. But Rotom Wash really stops Mega Scizor, and that is the one Pokemon that I really feel he will use, just because Mega Scizor is a feint, and he will probably prepare for the likes of Mega Scizor. So yeah, Rotom Wash defense I'm expecting. I don't think he's gonna use a choice one, just because he needs some defensive bulk. Then again, he may be playing offensive this time around. Fully offensive, but we're gonna see. Serperior, I'm gonna be honest, I think he could run Serperior more than he will run Mega Sceptile. Now you may think, well, that's crazy, but there's a reason why. Serperior with Sup, Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, as well as Hidden Power Fire, that is perfect set for my team. It will cover all my Pokemon and it will devour their souls, no question about it. Dragon Pulse, Leaf Storm, Dragalge can take one Dragon Pulse with +2 with the Salt Vest, but after that I'm destroyed. I cannot allow him to sub setup. I need all my Pokemon to have enough strength to break its up without him running a Calm Minding set. Calm Minding set will definitely be something I need to watch out, but I don't think he's gonna use that. He's probably gonna use like a sub fully offensive with perfect free coverages and go from there. Lead Seat, I don't think so. My team kinda, again, like I said, it's too tempting to use free offensive moves with sub, just because perfect coverage and leftovers probably on the likes of Serperior. That is what I'm expecting. Gastrodon I cannot use for Serperior, because Gastrodon makes Serperior setup way too easy, and something on my team would have died. So every time Gastrodon would come in, I would need to make a force switch, and he could have just stayed in to bring in safely the Serperior, make a sub, and proceed to go from there. I'm actually thinking about maybe using Hyper Voice on my Meloetta just for that Pokemon, but I think Psyshock would have been better for the likes of our next Pokemon. That's gonna be Volcarona. Now, Volcarona is hard. Volcarona is definitely the one Pokemon that really stands out on his team, and here is where I'm gonna make just sick. Okay, I'm sick in the head right now, but I'm expecting him, the Ethan guy, to expect me to over prepare myself for Volcarona. There is a reason. Mega Scizor. Basically, my whole team is semi-weak to Volcarona, outside of Dragonite and Dragalge if it's not running Hidden Power Ice. Or something of that fashion to hit both those Pokemon super well. I feel he may just not use it. I got Crocodile still. I can put up the rocks. He may just not use it because he's got only one way to get rid of the rocks, and that is with Defog Skuntank. So if he doesn't bring a Defog Skuntank, which is questionable because he already got Metagross and Terrakion, if he brings a Skuntank, that's 3 Pokemon being weak to ground. And that's not all that great if I got Crocodile with Stealth Rocks. You know, I can run a Scarfer. He does have a Rotom, but if I can get rid of Rotom, having 3 Pokemon being weak to, because Metagross and Terrakion are way too tempting to use. Their stats are over the roof, much better than the Skuntank will ever come in comparison. And a defogging Skuntank could be questionable. So basically, I think that if he doesn't have a defogger to get rid of the rocks, he may just not use Volcarona. Plus, Volcarona takes neutral from the likes of ground, so even Volcarona would have not take 2 Earthquakes from the likes of my Crocodile on the Switch. So I'm thinking that could be it. I'm thinking, no. Plus, not to mention, I could run Physical Dragalge with the adaptability. Physical one, which would guarantee me to take on Volcarona. And all I need is a Dragon Tail. One single Dragon Tail, boom. Throw it out again, come in with 1 HP basically, and he would have need forced to you know, basically restore his HP, but he would have been forced to do some shenanigans, and that is what I'm thinking. He may think I will use Dragon Tail also, and that can stop his Volcarona cold. So I don't think he's gonna use Volcarona because of this. I really don't. So basically that is where I'm going with that. Metagross, yeah, Metagross is too good. I'm expecting Stealth Rocks with this defensive, or generally max HP, max attack, Metagross, Bullet Punch. Probably some elemental punches like Ice Punch, Fire Punch to cover Scizor and basically Dragonite, definitely. Then we got, you know, things like Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt for the likes of Dragalge, I guess, as well as Earthquake. But I feel Earthquake also covers Arcanine really well. Because I cannot intimidate him, but then again Zen Headbutt still does consider amount to Arcanine and Keldeo, so I'm really scared of Zen Headbutt. But then again Earthquake still covers things well, I guess not really all that well, but it does cover Arcanine a little bit better. Yeah, so that is about that. I'm thinking Metagross, definitely, I need to expect him. Now Mr. Mime is question. Mr. Mime, when stats are involved, it can definitely not reach, like, it's hard Pokemon to use, I would assume, but here's the thing. Mr. Mime has got something that other Pokemon do not have, and that is Fairy type. Now, why is this very important is simple. If his Metagross is not Assault Vested, because if it's Assault Vested he cannot use Stealth Rocks, and that means he will need to use Stealth Rocks on his Terrakion, but that will limit his moveset. But then all Terrakion needs is Stone Edge, Close Combat, and Earthquake, I guess, I would assume. Or, well, not really Earthquake. Looking at my team, probably X-Scissor would do him best at this point. But, look at his team right now, and tell me, Dragalge, if I choice specs this monster, he could play his cards right. He can switch out to Mr. Mime, expecting me to go for the Draco Meteor. Because the thing is, specs Draco Meteor will decimate Metagross. It will probably do over half to a non-Assault Vest max HP Metagross. Even a max HP Metagross without Assault Vest, Draco does so much. It probably does around 60% if I'm not mistaken. It does insane amount of damage. So if I do that, I'm just gonna cripple him down to a range where basically Dragonite or things like that can most likely kill it. Without struggling too much, because Metagross does possess the bulk. Now Assault Vest could have been a different option here, but if that's the case, that could be it. Now I cannot just spam Draco Meteor when I'm specs, because Mr. Mime can come in and he can set up against me. So this Mr. Mime is giving me thinking that I will not use a specs one. I will need to use an Assault Vest one, because then I can take Grass type moves very well. I can probably even take a Superior's Life Orb after +2 from Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, and I believe that is even from Modest Nature, but I need to be at full health, I believe, to take that. So I need to watch out for that, but that's also an incredible indicator. I believe I can even take a Mega Sceptile's Dragon Pulse if it's timid. maybe even modest, just because of how much bulk Dragalge has. A max HP investment, Assault Vest, I think I can take one without a doubt and pretty much destroy it. But I need to be at max HP. That is where Dragalge is very poor. Now, if I'm going to use Assault Vest Dragalge, I'm going to need to use T-Wave support, but we're going to go into T-Wave support a little bit later. So, Mr. Mime and Metagross, both of them together, incredible. Those typing are definitely incredible, okay? We got defense, we got special defense. Mr. Mime special defense is great. And I'm even more scared of the choice specs Mr. Mime. Look at my team. Keldeo weak. I guess Arcanine isn't, but then again, if Stealth Rocks are in place, I'm going to be struggling a little bit. I'm not going to use Defog Scizor, we're going to go into that a little bit later. Dragonite weak to the likes of Dazzling Gleam. Getcher, I'm not going to use Dragalge. Not really weak, but it's definitely weak to the likes of Shy Shock, which I feel he will use, most definitely. Meloetta, not really weak. Crocodile, definitely weak. Piloswine, well, Piloswine has actually been replaced with Spiritomb, and Spiritomb is weak to the likes of Dazzling Gleam, so kind of overdoing it with Scarf to speed that, but still, it's a factor. And Electros isn't really weak, but again, Electros, if it's special, it cannot really touch Mr. Mime. I'm gonna go with Super Fang on it, just to really cripple down, and I kind of proceed to go from there. Mega Scizor is like the Pokemon that can semi-stop it, but then he can run a Technician, I believe Mr. Mime gets, with Hidden Power Fire to kind of just switch out and switch in and pretty much just go from there. But then again, Bullet Punch without speed it, so forget what I just said there. Still, Mr. Mime is a threat. It is a threat. Scarf, looking at my team, would take me by surprise, and I am scared of being taken by surprise like this, because it could just cost me a Pokemon that I don't need to lose. I don't want to lose. Mr. Mime is not the fastest Pokemon around, but it can definitely outspeed things like Keldeo afterwards, and you know, even I guess, I mean, Crocodile outspeeds it with max speed. I mean, maybe Scarf is overdoing it. Look at my team, but then again, if I got like Dragon Dancing Dragonite that with scale has been broken already, he could come in with Mr. Mime and then still outspeed me and take me out. So that is where, you know, that can actually come in handy, because there are two setups that I feel can be very potent against his team, and I'm gonna try to proceed to go against them. Quagsire has been replaced by Terrakion. Quagsire basically being in the bench now that Terrakion is in. I'm thinking that Terrakion, luxury of Stealth Rocks, not to mention Assault Vest, could also be it without Stealth Rocks. But now that Quagsire is not around, I can fully, which was basically a decision made by Yeti, I can fully think about not bringing Solar Beam, Power Herb, Arcanine to the table. I believe I did Calcs, max HP, max defensive. Quagsire would probably been one-shotted even by an adamant Arcanine with no investment in special attack. I believe that's over 100% guarantee, but that's without any special defense investment, just HP in and defense, basically, you know, unaware setup. But definitely with that Pokemon outside the picture, I don't have to struggle making my team revolve around grass that it needs to. So basically none of my Pokemon will really have any grass related moves, even with Rotom around. But I just want to chip damage on Rotom. That's all I need for two potential Pokemon to sweep. So next Pokemon, Skuntank. Okay, now I'm gonna go a little bit into my team. I will have a Chesto Resto, Shadow Ball, Psyshock, Meloetta. You may think, but that's crazy. But no, it's not. Yes, it's weak to Corona, but again, like I said, I'm fully expect my opponent to expect me to expect it, but I will not expect it, so prepare myself for others. Rotom Wash, Superior, even Metagross to a certain extent. Sigilyph, I guess to a certain degree, I can play one-on-one with it, depending on what kind of set it is. Snorlax, I can definitely play one-on-one because I can take a couple of moves. Psyshock should still dish out a lot of damage. Mega Sceptile cannot touch Meloetta once Calm Mind is up. And it's still probably going to be, you know, with two Calm Minds, I can probably one-shot it while he will dish out basically little to no damage. Probably like 20% at max. 25, I guess, but that's with two Calm Minds at least. That is what I'm expecting. And Terrakion, again, a threat, but with Psyshock and defense investment, I can definitely take one or two moves from it, depending on what kind of move he will decide to go for. So, defensive Meloetta. Here's the thing. I'm expecting him to not use Skuntank, because, as I said, Metagross, Terrakion are way too tempting to use. They're just too good. And especially against my team, I got Dragonite, for God's sake. Dragonite is a threat. And you know, those two are incredible. But then with Skunk Tank, Dragon, you know, it's like ground. It's all ground. It's all too weak to ground, even with Rotom off and a grass or two depending. But Skunk Tank, I don't feel he would use. Well, priority could really come in handy. And that's basically that. With Skunk Tank not in the picture, at least I hope he will not be. Meloetta can set up. Maybe. I'm expecting against Rotom. That's the one Pokemon I'm trying to set up, especially if it's defensive. I can rest to chest afterwards, take every move he's got. He cannot touch this. Shadow Ball will cover most of the Pokemon like Metagross, Sigilyph, you know, things. And then we got Psyshock to cover Volcarona that may try setup afterwards. Thinking I got Psych, but I got Psyshock to hit it on the defensive side where Quiver Dance doesn't really work out in his favor. So basically that's gonna be that setup. What else will we got? Skunk Tank, again, Skunk Tank would completely wall this, especially if special defense. He could run Pursuit and that could scream basically dead Meloetta. So if you run Skunk Tank, Meloetta generally will be used as a bait for Skunk Tank to come in, but that could be hard just because Relic Song, he could think I'm a physical attacker looking at Skunk Tank in his draft. And that may give me problems by switching in and then switching out by him just staying in and not even switching to his Skunk Tank. Expect me to go for Relic Sound. That could also be it, and that is what is truly frightening. Not to mention he's got Snorlax, which also applies. If I don't use Keldeo, I may just use a Relic Song Meloetta with close combat. You know, that's also a factor there I need to consider. But again, I'm hoping he does not use Skunk Tank as well as Volcarona, because those two Pokemon can hit super effective and they're a threat. But then again, with one Calm Mind, I believe I can go one-on-one on Volcarona afterwards if it comes in, depending on how much HP I got. But he needs to start setting up because Meloetta does possess incredible special defense afterwards, like at level 100 that's like 440 something. It's insane, and that monster HP is, how can something so little have so much HP? It's monstrous, you know. So basically, that's really about that. What else do we got? Well, we got Sigilyph. Now I'm gonna be honest. I was always scared of Sigilyph, just because how bad of a monster this is. And when I mean bad, I mean horrifying. Okay, horrifying Pokemon. Cosmic Power, Stored Power, Calm Mind, just Psycho Shift, Burn. There are just so many options with Sigilyph that it can go specs. I believe it even gets like Tinted Lens, I believe, which means he can hit so hard. It's not even like it's crazy. It's a very powerful Pokemon. I need to watch out. If he uses Sigilyph, which I'm thinking he may, just because, you know, no Stealth Rock weaknesses, great Pokemon to take on some of the Pokemons basically. Well, I guess it depends. Looking at it, I mean, looking at my team now with Hidden Power Fire, he can handle Mega Scizor. But then he can handle Keldeo one-on-one if he starts setting up on me. But then we got things like all the rest of my Pokemons that he can struggle if I got offense to them. You know, like Crocodile, if I'm not choiced, he will struggle. I guess, no, even Spiritomb he would have struggled with. So having Spiritomb in draft may actually give him thinking I will use him for Terrakion. But then again, you know, as I said, Terrakion can be free to use whatever move he wants to use, and that could spell that he may just not use Sigilyph. But that would also spell that he may use Snorlax. Now I'm thinking he will use Snorlax, and there is a reason why. I got Keldeo, yes, but if I don't use Keldeo, then we got Arcanine, Dragonite, Dragalge. Spectrogalge's Draco still does a lot of damage, I believe 70% to a semi-cursing Snorlax, and that's a considerable amount of damage. But then we got, you know, we just got the bulk, and Snorlax bulk is way too real. Plus, I believe also gets Fire Punch. It can be Assault Vested, especially for Dragalge. Fire Punch, Body Slam, Earthquake, and Ice Punch, I guess. I mean, generally speaking, that is the perfect coverage for my team, and Snorlax could definitely be a threat to consider. Yeah, but Snorlax a threat. Mega Sceptile is I don't know where to start. I feel Superior is a little bit scarier than Mega Sceptile. I feel that's the case, because Serperior can at least get +2, while Sceptile does have that dragon typing. It's like, I don't know, I feel like Serperior sub, Hidden Power Fire, Leaf Storm, and just Dragon Pulse is all it needs. Then again, Mega Sceptile, is also a Pokemon that I should consider, but if he uses both, I would be confused. I don't feel he will use both. Serperior, I'm guessing, would be the one. While that may give you strange feelings, the thing is, Mega Sceptile versus Mega Scizor. Serperior has the speed and it has the bulk, while Mega Sceptile, I believe, doesn't have the bulk as much as Serperior. And with that lead store is way too tempting. Plus, it does have the speed, enough speed to mostly outspeed most of my Pokemons. So it doesn't need to be overdoing it like Mega Sceptile, for example. But we're gonna try to prepare for Serperior, if anything, and not really Mega Sceptile. Because again, like I said, I don't think he's gonna use 2 grass types. Because again, he will not predict me to use Gastrodon, not with Serperior around. No way. I mean, Sceptile is a problem, but then Sceptile tends to be special. It doesn't go Sword Dance most of the times, and that is also a factor. So I gotta think about that. I cannot use Gastrodon. So let's look at his team. We talked about his team. Let's look at our team now. Keldeo. Not gonna use Keldeo. I know, it's strange, isn't it? But hear me out. If I use Keldeo, I would use Choice One. And again, Keldeo could easily make Serperior come in. And I cannot allow Serperior to start bashing damage. I need all my Pokemon to semi-be a stop to Serperior. All my Pokemon need to do damage to where I can break subs. I cannot just lock myself into like Hydro Pump. Serperior comes in. I cannot go with Specs, and if I cannot go with Specs, I'm not gonna play with that, because Metagross does have Zen Headbutt, and one-on-one, if I cannot throw out Modest Nature, Specs Hydro Pump, try to threaten it, then I may as well just forget using Keldeo, to be honest. Well, it could have worked out against Rotom Wash, but then again, Rotom Wash could be potentially Scarf even, and that could throw me off guard, and I feel Keldeo would have just bring in way too many openings. While it's tempting, especially if he does decide to use Volcarona at the end. But then again, with 1Q Air Dance, even Keldeo would start to struggle against it because of how amazing Volcarona's special defense is to begin with. Now, Arcanine, definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't even know how important Arcanine is in this battle. Now, if Skuntank is not around, with Quagsire gone, Scarf, what nature will I go? I will go with nature that gives me minus defense, and it gives me plus special attack. The reason is I'm gonna use Mix Scarfer, I'm gonna use Overheat, I'm gonna use Close Combat, I'm gonna use Flamethrower, and I'm also gonna use what's gonna be my last move: Overheat, Flamethrower, Close Combat, and Extreme Speed, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Extreme Speed, just in case. No, Iron Head. Yes, Iron Head for the likes of that Mr. Mime, because we're gonna be using not plus speed, we're gonna use plus special attack, which means Mr. Mime can outspeed us if it's max speed. I don't want to allow that. I would rather hit it with a head smash and guarantee myself to take it out. So basically, that's going to be our Arcanine. It's going to be very important to the likes of Serperior. If we can break sub, Arcanine can come in and we can give him that thinking, oh wait, but I'm with +2. He can be tempting to attack me. And that is where Scarf may take him off guard, and Overheat will guarantee us the kill. I don't want to take any recall from this, especially with things like Metagross around. Overheat will probably work a little bit better than Flare Blitz, because Metagross's defense is quite considerably big. If he's not running Assault Vest, that is. If he's running Assault Vest, then Overheat will definitely be in the thing to struggle. But we're gonna put around half attack EVs basically into attack, and then half into special attack, and the rest is going to be into speed, because I believe nature with special attack and max speed 252 will still outspeed a Scarfer is still going to outspeed a Mega Sceptile, and that is all I need. That is all I need. I want to outspeed it and damage it before I go down. Plus, Mega Sceptile is gonna need to like run something to take me down, but depends on Stealth Rock damage and so forth. So that's not gonna happen if it doesn't have anything to truly. Dragon Pulse is like the best thing you can go for after that. But Arcanine does have some bulk, so rely on Arcanine very much. Arcanine is going to be stopped by Rotom Wash Cold, but this is where other Pokemon will come into play. So we're gonna go with Dragonite. Dragonite is gonna be a Resto Chesto, Dragon Dance, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw. Now think about this. Rotom Wash destroys Dragonite if he's got Roost. If it's not Specs Dragonite, it will get destroyed. I cannot use Specs one. I could use Mix one, but I'm scared because he's got Metagross and he can come in with, I expect that Draco Meteor, and he generally can come in and take a move or two. So Mr. Mime is another thing. I cannot just spam Draco Meteor. So I cannot go Mix with this one. I definitely can. Even with Rotom Wash, it would have been very tempting. But I got a better idea. Think about this now. I go for the Dragon Dance. I normally outspeed because I got the speed. He's the defensive one. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp. He burns me. Now he thinks that he's in a good position, right? Because I got my multi-scale broken. I go for the Dragon Dance again. And then my opponent is starting to wonder, wait, he could have Volt Switches on that turn. He could have just directly attacked me knowing that I cannot touch him. But then he switches out. Let's say that he Volt Switches on my second Dragon Dance. Here's the thing. Whatever comes in next, I will rest on, I will get my multi-scale, and if Ice Punch is not the next move coming in, I will still have, well, basically it's not going to take me out, and then I'm going to have +2 speed, +2 attack, and then after that I can proceed to try decimate his team. Dragon Claw, I don't know if Serperior can get one-shotted. I will need to use Jolly because 1 DD, I believe, Mega Sceptile gets outspeeded by just 1 point. Even it's running timid just by 1 point. It's a trollish thing. While a little bit of a fun fact, at level 100, Serperior, Mega Sceptile, I believe, there's a speed tie with Dragonite. So at level 50, Dragonite with 1 DD outspeeds. At level 100 with 1 DD, it's a speed tie, or I believe Mega Sceptile speed by 1. It's kind of crazy, but it's interesting. So that's a little fact there. But everything has been put into order. +2 may just be enough. Rotom will dish out damage, but again, if I can get +3, it's gone. His whole team will get one-shotted. His whole Metagross will get one-shotted by Earthquake. Mr. Mime cannot take Earthquake after that. There's no unaware Quagsire anymore. Terrakion will get Earthquake damaged. Snorlax, I guess Snorlax can take 1. That is a threat I need to consider. But all else will get decimated. And depending on when this is used, will depend on how the game will go. So Dragonite is one potential sweeper on my team that I may use in a way that he may not expect, and expect my roosting DD set, or just DD in general, that can take him off guard by using a Resto Chesto. So yeah. Then we got Gastrodon. I'm not going to use again for Serperior's sake. Dragalge, incredible. Assault Vest can take on Dragon moves, at least one, and retaliate. Dragalge, I thought about using Specs, but then we got, you know, that Mr. Mime, that, I cannot spam Draco with Mr. Mime around, and Metagross considerably can take a poison because immunities, so those two immunities are insane. Looking at it now, Metagross resisting the Steel, and you know, both resisting the Psychic as well, especially like Mr. Mime's special defense is actually pretty good. But you know, both them together are semi really good when Dragalge is involved, and Mr. Mime can hit it on the physical side with Side Shock and proceed to go from there. Plus, I don't want to allow any of these two Pokemon to have a chance to just come in. But then again, it may just happen, because even with Assault Vest, I'm at least going to be semi-free to use any other moves if I want, especially if any of these two Pokemon is paralyzed, so I can outspeed it afterwards. That can also be a factor, but we're going to go into the paralyzation Pokemon a little bit later on. Meloetta, Shadow Ball, Side Shock as I mentioned, Resto Chesto, max defensive, max HP, go from there, hoping he does not use Skunk Tank. If he uses Skunk Tank with Pursuit, Meloetta is a setup. Basically, Meloetta is just a bait. If he brings in Skunk Tank, Meloetta can take a move, Pursuit, full power, yes, but I can only Shadow Ball it, and that's going to be all the damage I can do, plus it resists, so it's not going to be all that much damage. Sigilyph can get destroyed by Meloetta. Crocodile, I will not use. Yes, again, like I said, I'm not preparing myself for Volcarona. Big mistake. I'm definitely not thinking he's going to bring three Pokemon being weak to ground. Rotom Wash is there. Crocodile, it's tempting, but thing is, I feel he will be offensive outside of Rotom Wash. I think he will not allow me to do anything. Serperior, another thing is, Crocodile, Serperior is so easy to come in and just set up on me. I need all the strength. I need every single Pokemon on my team to take on Serperior, to not allow it to get any setup involved. If I allow it to get setup involved, it's over. I cannot do that. So Crocodile, not used. I'm sorry, Crocodile. I may have used you with a berry that weakens grass type moves, but you just cannot hit Superior that much. You just can't. Like seriously, even knock if he's defensive, I'm done. Like I'm generally done. Electros, yes. It's been a while when I last used Electro, but I need ground immunity is great with the likes of Arcanine down there and Dragalge as well. But not really the ground immunity, is more about the coverage. This Pokemon is going to be essential for the Rotom. I need Super Fang to cripple Rotom, where potential Mega Scizor, which I'm going to talk about it later, can try to sub Sword Dance and Sweep. That is what I'm going to go for. It can also paralyze majority of his Pokemon outside of Mega Sceptile that still didn't Mega. I can still paralyze that. Quagsire is the only ground type Mon that I see in his team now, being still replaced by Terrakion, another fast Pokemon, so T-Wave is essential. Now, I got T-Wave, again, like I said, there's paralyzation chance for Dragonite to set up as well. Dragalge speeding the likes of threats that are around me outside of Mega Sceptile, which speed is insane, basically. I don't feel like even Dragalge without speed to paralyzing Sceptile, just because that speed is just way too real. Then again, I could be mistaken, then I'm probably not. But still, looking at it, Dragonite, you know, most of my guys could definitely benefit from a paralyzation, especially if I start setting up on things. You know, you can set up 3 times with Substitute. There is a 3-time chance, 25% to paralyze your opponent. That could be all you need. And that's what we're gonna do. Electros, he's gonna have Flamethrower just for that that pesky Superior. I cannot allow that Superior to set up. Just to be sure that Superior is not gonna set up on me, I'm gonna put Red Card on my Electros, just to throw that thing away if I do manage to survive. I believe I need to manage to survive in order for that to work. I cannot seem to say how that... I believe I need to survive, right? Or does it still work? Because if it still works, then that is the best move. I cannot allow Superior to set up on me. I need all the strength I can get. Super Fang, Flamethrower, Volt Switch, and Thunder Wave. Volt Switch could have been great if he attacks me and I manage to survive a move. He's thrown into something random outside of his control of reach. I will switch on that and get the team switch initiative depending on when this is used. But again, chances like this could work into my favor, or they can work against me, especially if I bring in Electros and then it's hit and then it's out of his control and my item has been used and stuff get crazy. But Thunder Wave is going to be very important. Electros is essential because I need to cripple. I need to just chunk away damage. So Mega Scizor, max attack, Bullet Punch, Bullet Punch, Bug Bite, Sword Dance Sub could be it. T-Wave, chunk away damage, and Electros does possess the bulk. Modest Nature, just for a little bit more power. Flamethrower, just in case. You never know when that can come in handy. Especially against Superior that generally are quite bulky to begin with. Plus it's Flamethrower is on stab. Max defense to take on at least one move from Terrakion with reasonable ease. Even with Stealth Rock involved, we should take at least one. Not really with reasonable ease, but we should. T-Wave and is gone. Terrakion is done after that. It's done. Plus Terrakion is an excellent set opportunity for Scizor, especially if I can intimidate it with Arcanine. Another thing, I will not use my Flash Fire Arcanine because Hidden Power Fire could be tempting right now, especially looking at my team and looking at the Scizor. But I feel Intimidate could be really good against Terrakion because then Scizor could come in and start setting up on it. With Mega Scizor's natural bulk, I think he will probably be tempting to switch out without risking too much too soon. So basically, looking at it now, I feel that's gonna be it. What else should I look now? Honestly, like I said, you know, I think that he's gonna use Rotom Wash. Superior, Volcarona, I just feel it's way too centralizing for me. He may think that I will or prepare myself for it and he will not use it. Metagross, yes. Mr. Mime, yes, just because that freaking fairy. Terrakion, most definitely. Skunk Tank, nah. Sigilyph, I'm fearing this one, but I can see it still being used. While Metagross is Psychic and Sigilyph is Psychic, it's still like Sigilyph is different. You know, Kick and Cosmic Power, it can be such a pain to deal with. Snorlax, yes, against Dragalge, I can see that definitely being a threat. And I believe I will still have Dragon Tail on my Dragalge just in case. So I can, you know, just in case like Volcarona is in, I can just Dragon Tail that away. Again, as I said, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Dragon Tail, Dragonite, Dragon Tail, Dragalge could be a thing he may fear. And if he doesn't use a Defogger, Skunk Tank, then, you know, Stealth Rocks are not going to be in place for my team, and he's going to be sort of struggling with Volcarona to begin with. So I may think that he will not use, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be expecting Dragalge to begin with. Threatening team, definitely threatening team. I'm scared, but we're going to see how this one is going to turn out. I think about this since like Saturday, you know, because ever since like I really started thinking about teams, I won my battles. Just as long as I think I really need to put my all into this one. Think about things that may happen, that, you know, how stuff should work out. Like, for example, Rotom Wash, enough speed, outspeed, sup on the Will-O-Wisp, Sword Dance, boom. Depending on if I chip away damage from him, after that I can potentially go for another Sword Dance, depending what switch I can take, maybe. And then I can sweep. +4 is enough to sweep his team. +2 Dragonite, I believe, is enough to sweep his team. Those are 2 potential sweeps. And I sort of need my score to be a little bit higher now. But again, my opponent is an excellent one. I've watched his other battles. Well, I cannot analyze what he is all about regarding this team, which again has got its drawbacks and some benefits for me. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see when the time comes, and that's gonna be it for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, well, I drink way too much Coca-Cola. Bell is going to be on Friday, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, take care. Peace.